Make tzitzit. So I put my tzitzit above my shoit so that we can actually see what a tzitzit is. Now we know when you wear a four-cornered garment, yeah, it's got two corners in the front, two corners in the back, four corners. So we have a mitzvah d'oraita, a biblical mitzvah, to put on it tzitzit, to put these strings, and we're going to explain what they are in a moment. So every one of the four corners gets their tzitzit, right? We have four corners, two in the front, two in the back. They each get their tzitzit. Now, anytime you wear a four-cornered garment, doesn't matter if the garment is made out of wool or linen or, well, I guess if you have a linen garment, you put on wool tzitzit, you got problems. But, because you're not supposed to mix wool and linen, right? That's shatnez. But let's say you're wearing a garment made of wool or you're wearing a garment made of cotton. So we put tzitzit on that garment. What are tzitzit? So tzitzit are special strings which were made. They were spun for the sake of the mitzvah of tzitzit. And every corner gets their tzitzit. We take four strings. You go to the store and you buy yourself 16 strings, right? They come in packs today. These are strings that were spun for the sake of the mitzvah of tzitzit. And we're going to see today, Bezrat Hashem, how you do this. But before we do it practically, let's look at our tzitzit. Our tzitzit has, there's the hole. The hole has to be, when we look at the corner, so the hole has to be higher up than the distance from the end of your thumb to the first knuckle. So that's, you see, this hole is higher up on both ends than that, right? And lower down than 3 finger widths. Okay, 1, 2, 3. You see, it's within that range. 1, 2, 3. It's within that range. Yes, in both directions. This direction and this direction. So our hole is, you know, when you buy these ready-made pieces of wool. So okay, or they make them also out of cotton. So you're okay. You buy them ready-made, and they the holes are in the right place. Okay. So the garment can be any garment. You could go out and buy yourself a wool garment. And it doesn't have to be made for any, intention or anything. You could go, if you're handy with sewing, you could prepare yourself your own piece of cloth. However, wearing a wool garment fulfills all opinions that it is a mitzvah d'oraisa. But still, you can get whatever color, you can get whatever you want. So we wear this ideally over our clothing, but in the last few centuries, like millennium or so, Jews in exile have had to put it under their clothing. So this is what's called the talit katan. Okay? Now, if we look at our talit katan, can you see the knots, Minnie? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we will notice that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double knots. Okay? Now, what's the mitzvah d'oraisa? The biblical mitzvah is to have 2 double knots. A double knot here, right next to the corner, and another double knot, and in between some windings. So if I make a double knot, and I wind it around 3 times, and I do another double knot, now I have kosher tzitzit on this corner. If I do it on all 4 corners, it's kosher. It's not the right way to do it, but it's kosher. So the right way to do it is, we make a double knot next to the corner, which we will see in a moment. And then we wind it around 7 times. And we make another double knot. And then we wind it around 8 times. And then we make another double knot. And then we wind it around 11 times. And another double knot. And 13 times. And another double knot. Now, with regards to double knots, I'll show you a little trick. Most people have a habit of how they make a knot. My habit is that I take my right hand, I put it under the left, I bring it around, and I make a knot. Okay, that's my double knot. I'm going to naturally do that again. Bring it around and make a knot. Now when I do it again, my knot will keep moving. You see how that keeps moving? So if you do a double knot that way, your knot keeps moving. So there's a trick to how to make a double knot so it closes on itself and it doesn't move. This isn't in the laws of tzitzit, but it's a good trick. It'll help you in doing your tzitzit also. Okay, so the trick is, I know that I always take the right one, put it under the left, bring it around the top, and close. So the next time, I'll take the right, put it under the left, and take the left one and put it in and close. And now it tightens on itself. It can't go anywhere. It's tightening in the same spot. Okay? So I just took the other one. Again, I'm going to do this so that Billy can see it better, okay? If I always take the right one, put it under the left, put it in and close. This time I'll take the right one, put it under the left, and instead I'll take the left one and put it in and close. Okay? That's the trick to making a knot that closes on itself. Okay? So now we're ready to begin. We're doing a biblical mitzvah d'oraisa. It's nighttime. So we're allowed to do a mitzvah of making tzitzis at night. But being that this is our mitzvah, so we will say I'm doing it for the sake of the mitzvah. You will note that we're taking a set of 4 strings. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, when you buy them, you get a set of 16. 12 of them are the same length. 4 are extra long. That's what's called the shamash. The extra long one is the one which will wind around the rest. Okay? So here we see the extra long one. Now, throughout, when we make the tzitzis, we try to keep, as you see in this knot, the 2 sides of the string recognizable. So let's see. I have here the hole. We learned earlier the Chazon Ish that says when you put in the strings, you say, I'm doing this for the sake of the mitzvah of tzitzis, right? When you put it in the hole. So we're going to say, L'shem mitzvah tzitzit. And put the 4 strings. L'shem mitzvah tzitzit. We put the 4 strings inside. Okay. We're doing this for the sake of the mitzvah of tzitzis. So now, we end up with, it seems like 8 strings, right? Really, it's 4 strings doubled up. Now, technically, you want them to be even. However, for making your knot, it will be easier to use this one without the long one, right? To keep flipping this one around. So in order to do that, it's advisable to make this one a little bit longer, like a hand width longer than the other side. Okay, that's just a trick. Say there? So I made this a hand width longer. Now, I'm going to make my first double knot, which, according to some opinions, is a mitzvah d'oraisa. How do I make the knot? So, I take this side. I'm going to always want this side recognizable. So I'm going to make a slip knot of these 4 strings. So now, I have these 4 strings. I know that's this side. I take them, and I say, L'shem mitzvah tzitzit. And I bring it over the other 4. And I put it in, L'shem mitzvah tzitzit. And I tighten. Now, I want it on the garment this tight, so it doesn't slip down, but if I do it tighter, it'll start folding the garment. I don't want that. I want it to look nice. I want it to be exactly tight on the garment, right? Okay, so I got it this tight. I have to make a double knot, remember? Okay. Remember, we said my habit is to bring this one in. But if I want the knot to stay in its place, I bring the other one in. I can tighten all I want, it's not going anywhere. It's exactly the length I want it. Right now, maybe we'll okay, so it's sitting here. Now, we're going to take 4. We're going to take the other 4. But among these 4, we have one that's longer. Remember, our shamish. Okay? So, the other thing we're going to do, some people don't make a slip knot, they take rubber bands and they make it around it. This is just a trick to make it easier. So I put a slip knot here. Over here, I take 3 out of the 4, because this one I need to go around them. And again, I'll make a slip knot You don't know how to make a slip knot, so you can put a rubber band around it. Now, we take our tzitzit, okay? I'm prepared. These are two sides of a string, right? And I have my shamish. I need the shamish to go around 7 times. So we go once, twice. Yes? So far so good. I got twice. Now I'm going to show you a trick. Instead of bringing the shamish all around, I'm going to move this around the shamish. So I pull out the shamish. 3. Just bring this around. 4. 5. 6. You see what I'm doing, yeah? And 7. Okay. So 7. Now let's count this. We got 6. We said we had 7. How come we got 6? Because we counted the point where it starts down here. Here you got 7. See, where the point where the string began. So there I have 7. So people get stuck with this. I thought I had 7, right? And then it ends up I have 6, and only on parts would I have 7. So the trick is, you come around another half a circle. When you have that 7, you come around another half a circle till the point where you began. And then you split up your 2 groups. And you put your middle string in between. Now you've locked it in. Yes, by putting I have these 2 sets. I came around the 7th time full circle. Yes, and then after I come around to here, which is corresponding to the starting point of this string, I put it in between the strings. And then I'm going to, but I feel like this one doesn't even start here. I want to come all the way to the other side. So I'm going to come all the way around to here and then put it through the middle. Now I've locked it in. Yeah, was that clear? I came around and I came in with my shamish. This is a trick. This isn't halacha. It's just a trick. And I come out there. So I have 7 on the first round, yes? And I came in, I locked it in. You will notice that the 7 loops are pretty loose. That, it says in the Mishnah Brura, is to accomplish that the 7 take up as much space as the 8 and the 11 and the 13. As we progress, we make them tighter and tighter, so that the gaps on the tzitzis seem like they're equal. So even though here I have 11 and here I have 8, but here I make them less tight and here I make them more tight, so that they take up almost the same amount of space. So you see here, I purposely didn't make it very tight. Now I'm going to make a double knot. The Mishnah Brura writes, we have the opinion of the Rosh and the Rambam. Is the biblical knot this one up here, or is it the double knot I'm about to make now? So again, we remind ourselves, I'm doing this for the sake of the mitzvah of tzitzis, the Shem mitzvah tzitzit, we make a double knot. Now, remember I left this one longer. Why? Because when I make my double knot, to start making it with this long string is convoluted, it's hard. So I always use this one, it's easier. So the Shem mitzvah tzitzit, through. But you see, because this one is going to do all the wrapping, that's why I needed more length on it if I want at the end that they should be the same length, both sides of the foot. So the Shem mitzvah tzitzit, once, Shem mitzvah tzitzit, twice. We finished. That's it. We did our first round. Technically, mitoraisa, I have a kosher tzitzis here. It's not nice. It's not the way to walk around with tzitzis. But I was once with a sick person and I had to make tzitzis and I was rushed out in the middle of the night to go to the person. So I grabbed a pair and I knew I was sitting in the hospital for I didn't know how long. I grabbed a talis, and I brought tzitzis with me. And as I sat next to him, I had made like this. You see, on this corner, I also made the minimum. Double knot, 7 loops, double knot. And on the third corner, I also made the minimum. And on the fourth corner also. So I'm allowed to make a blessing on this and wear it. Because this has kosher tzitzis right now. On all 4 corners, I have 2 sets of double knots and loopings. Right? On all 4 corners. Now, I could continue making it, which is what I did next to this patient. So he wakes up, and he looks at me, and he goes, Rabbi, why are you wearing tzitzis if you didn't finish making them? That's not kosher. You're not allowed to wear a 4-cornered garment without the tzitzis inside. So I said, you're right. I didn't want to argue with the sick patient. I said, you have a good point. And then he started fighting with me. So I said, oh, you're well enough to talk? Okay, so I'll explain it to you. Okay. Once he was well enough to talk, so I explained it to him that biblically, that's it. This is kosher. Now, we don't wear this until we finish. We do the same thing. 8, 11, 13. It's the same concept. Okay? Now, on the final knot, you should make it the same way we made this knot. And that way that the knot doesn't move. All the knots in the middle, it doesn't matter. Because they're not moving. Nothing's happening to them. They're wrapped and they go beyond. The final knot, you want to do the way you did the first knot, so that it stays tight and doesn't open up. So that's in a nutshell how we make tzitzit. You're allowed to make tzitzit at night. And the strings have to be spun for the sake of the mitzvah of tzitzit. Thank you, Vinny. Shkoyach.